Our next guest, Justin Robert, has been calling out NASA's BS and lies for years in Florida. Here he is in front of the Brevard County Commission. Watch.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Today I'd like to bring to your attention a potential fraud on an enormous scale happening in your county. There's now clear evidence of NASA using numerous methods to grossly mislead the public about astronauts being on the International Space Station. During interior ISS scenes from NASA's own live feed, the use of wires, harnesses, green screens, and virtual reality have been detected to achieve the appearance of a weightless environment. Examples of this include astronauts fading in and out of the screen, green screen glitches, grabbing objects that aren't really there, pulling on invisible wires, getting tangled in their harnesses, and even astronauts appearing out of thin air. This begs the obvious question. If they're really up there, why are they using Hollywood techniques to fake the footage?
Great question. Justin joins us now. Thank you, Justin, for, first of all, I love that you're trying to bring awareness to this and call out NASA's fraud. What's the purpose of them lying to us with this?
Well, it appears around the 50s, Admiral Byrd went exploring Antarctica. And it's funny that you were talking about cutting through the ice in the Arctic earlier, but I think they found something down in Antarctica. He talked about a continent the size of America, not of ice, green and lush, that no one had ever seen before. So I think they could be potentially hiding other continents, resources, who knows what other sorts of secrets. Maybe the aliens are beyond Antarctica. I'm not sure, but that was when they created the Antarctic Treaty. That was when they shut it all down, and all the countries that are at odds with each other do agree that no one's allowed to explore Antarctica independently. So it's a pretty big secret that we can look past World War III issues and say, okay, no one's going down there to mess with those penguins, right, as they tell us. And then they create NASA in the same decade. And I truly believe that they're hiding our true history, where we live, what this place looks like, and that we're not necessarily in an endless void of space, and we could be the center of this intelligent design. And it's really just to keep our focus on outer space above us when potentially there could be outer lands. You know, I liken it to the Truman Show. Truman was very hard to control once he started getting curious and finding out that there was more out there. If they wrapped our world around the ball and just told us there was nothing else, and if you go around in the same direction, you'll hit your starting point, no one's ever going to go looking for the perimeter or the fence or the Antarctic ice wall. And that's what I think they're keeping from us by basically busy work and funneling trillions of dollars for black budget money for who knows what, and just wringing out water and space. I always ask people, you know, how long have they been up there and what benefit have they brought to your life or humanity? No one can really name anything except billions of trillions of dollars per year to take pictures that a lot we've proved are fake. And why are we up there faking this and doing this charade? That is the big $1 million question. And I can only speculate, which is what I just did for you.
The one thing we can thank the space program for is Velcro.
I know. And could we have not come up with that without astronauts? So you've got to wonder if extraterrestrials, if you think about the word and break it down, it sounds like extra terrain, extra territory. The extra territory could be what Admiral Byrd found. And that could be where these beings are coming from. I like to stick with what I can prove. It's really hard to prove that the aliens exist, but it looks like there's more evidence that they come from outer or under than, up above us. So NASA almost appears more like a big worldwide intelligence agency, keeping the biggest secrets from the world about our true history. Whether there was great resets and aliens, who knows what? Maybe those are the people that keep a tight lid on that.
Right. So people in our chat room are just saying that NASA is basically, a co-opted agency at this point, and NASA is fake as hell. These were all illusions up there. Like everything that they're telling us is a lie. That CGI. A lot of people are saying that like these feeds are fake to begin with. They're cut. Go ahead.
And another one that really just struck me when I went down this rabbit hole was the photographs of Earth from space. I mean, you remember the blue marble that they put on our iPhone when we first got the iPhones? That's not even a real photograph. And when you dig deep, it's like a NASA guy has this long explanation about how he had to create it in Photoshop. And I'm like, how high have they really been? And then you catch astronauts saying that we've never been above low Earth orbit before, kind of a slip up. And so if we didn't go to the moon, which I think is pretty well accepted, especially most people in this audience, then you have to ask yourself, how high have they really been? If you've got satellites up there for decades, tens of thousands of them, and not one of them has turned around and taken a picture of our home, in one full frame. Every single one is created in Photoshop. I always ask people to pull them up, and then you get one that they admit is fake. Another one's got something funky written in the clouds. Then you find two that are from 20 years apart and they have the same cloud pattern, like identical, showing they're using trickery. So it's just, you just have to ask why. And I'd really like to know where our tax dollars are going, because a lot of it goes to NASA.
Right. And these secret off the books projects. So it's like it's being funneled there and then siphoned off into these defense contracts. No, you're right about that. And in fact, last year, I think we covered here how Vladimir Putin and the Russian Federation, they were presenting U.S. moon photos, and Russia, I think through their own AI tools in Russia concluded that they were 100% fake, or they knew with 99% certainty that the United States moon landing photos were totally faked. And Putin just said, I'm not surprised, because I think he knows.
I know. Yeah, at this point, the moon landing one is kind of that, oh yeah, we all know that's fake at this point. I mean, you just simply look to the astronauts. The three men that got back looked like they were being served a life sentence.
Right.
You know, watch a championship basketball team's reaction, and then watch those astronauts and think about why they're so different. They should be the same, and they're not even close. So it looks like men forced to lie. You know, Neil Armstrong gave like one speech for the rest of his life, and he said something like, I hope that the younger generations can peel back truth's protective layers. I mean, talk about a cryptic thing to say as an astronaut in one of your only speeches to a bunch of young people. And, you know, Buzz Aldrin's been caught slipping up. I feel like Buzz Aldrin wants to tell us. He's probably just scared to death. But, you know, he had an 8-year-old ask him why we haven't been back to the moon in 50 years. And he's like, well, that's my question. And it's because we didn't. And
Right.
then he just starts to mumble and fumble. And it's like, man, you're not acting like you went. You know?
No, I've interviewed Buzz Aldrin. I didn't get a chance to talk to him specifically about this. It was a brief interview years ago, and boy, do I wish I would have. But there's been a number of times, not only that interaction with that 8-year-old where he was like, we haven't been to the moon. He like just openly admits that we haven't been there. You wonder as he nears, you know, if he would just, you know, come out, if there's some sort of something he's written down somewhere for family members that he can release this information, it would just shatter everything we know about this. You're right. And then that press conference with Neil Armstrong and Bud, they're all sitting there. It looks like they're at a wake. You know, they're miserable after they get back there. I mean, people are like, oh, well, of course, you know, you travel. But it was days, or it was like more than a week or so. I mean, it wasn't like within the first 10 minutes of them landing in the ocean. Like they had been back for a while before they did that press conference, if I'm not mistaken. And there's been a number of times though that I've just been curious. Buzz Aldrin's comments about not going to the moon and we haven't been there, and that wasn't the only time he said it, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's been a number of times he's sort of slipped up, and you know, it just there's been a couple different ones. I mean, you've had a guy on the ISS say it was callers calling in or something, and he said, you know, talking to you just from the other side of the country in Maryland or something. He almost made this reference as if he was in California or he was in Maryland. And it's like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be in space and not really stationary. You know, why would you reference like where you are? And from the gravity pockets, you've had the guys actually drop objects on the ISS where things are supposed to float. So I just keep asking, like I asked in that meeting, you know, I'm not trying to make any positive claims here of what's going on, but why are we faking the videos if we're up there? If I tell you I own a Ferrari and I keep sending you pictures of me standing next to the car, and each time you can disprove that I've faked it, I'm not going to trust you going forward about this Atlas thing. I'm not going to trust you about going to Mars. And I'm going to return over every stone from the Challenger explosion, which I also did a speech on, and Gus Grissom, who was tragically killed, I believe, by NASA in 1967.
Well, people are saying, well, yeah, Buzz Aldrin's old. He has dementia. I don't know that that's the case, but he said these statements years ago. I mean, these are like decades old statements. So this is not like something he said last week, just to be clear about that. I want to get your take on this before we let you go, Justin, which is about this 3i Atlas. And NASA now coming out, I think today, I think it was officially today, where they're basically now saying that this is a comet. That's what their official commentary is on us, although they wouldn't let us use their cameras. We wouldn't get close-ups when it was nearing Mars. They gave us the lower resolution photos. They wouldn't give us the high definition photos, which we know they have. What do you make of this position on 3i Atlas as an interstellar object? It's simply a comet here, even though it's been acting incredibly odd for an object like this.
Yeah, I don't really know what to make of it because, it's a big problem when our only authority and source on the information is NASA. We have no way to verify if that was really a black hole they took a picture of, if this is really this thing coming at this speed with this trajectory. I mean, we're just looking at lights in the sky, and they could tell us it's something. It could fly by and be no threat. They could be fear mongering us. We could be mustering up new emotional support and a budget for NASA in a way. I don't know. I've always theorized that the final card is the sort of fake alien invasion. If they can't fool us with false flag terrorism and viruses and all these climate hoaxes, all these things that they've tried, and maybe we're about to kind of get our power back and win the info war, a lot of people think the final card is a fake alien attack, which would really, get us back into, oh, hey, government, save us from this threat, kind of like they wanted us to do with COVID. So I always tell people to have their guard up for that sort of scenario. Take everything they say with a grain of salt and just keep an eye on it. We really can't do anything but kind of watch what the information they feed us and vet it and, use our discernment.
Right. They would love nothing more than to use these reverse engineered craft that they have to kind of pretend that they're aliens and get us all scared. No, we need to herd you into a biometric tracking, future where we monitor everything. It's for your safety. So, and I know Jeremy Corbell has warned about it. He said this is one of their plans. They're going to say there's a large interstellar object coming. It's of unknown origin, and we all need to be controlled and, sort of herded and corralled. So I'm just waiting for that to happen. I know it's coming. Justin, great to have you here. Real treat. I always love. I'm always pleasantly surprised when we have a new guest on and we haven't had on before, and you make me smile. So love to have you back on. Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing there, going after NASA. We appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it. I see your clips often, and they're inspiring. So thanks for having me today.
You bet. Thanks, Justin.